Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thrive Connect. We're excited to host this event specifically for home service businesses. I'm Kevin White, lead training manager with Thrive and your MC. On behalf of Thrive, I'd like to thank you for being a part of today's event. We have a passion for helping small business owners leverage technology to get jobs, stay organized, and get paid faster. Today, you'll hear insight and business strategies from speakers who also have a passion for small business owners. We start our day giving you real-life tactics to help you grow your business in this post-pandemic economy. Now, afterwards, you'll have the opportunity to join one of 3 interactive sessions about our Thrive software. Now, keep in mind, each Power Pack session is hosted by a Thrive expert. They will teach you how to get the most out of the software. We have a fantastic keynote speaker, and we'll end the day with 3 interactive roundtable discussions with each of our guest speakers. These sessions will be golden opportunities to get direct answers to the questions from our small business experts. So make sure you stick around because we will be giving away 1 iPad Pro towards the end of the roundtable sessions that you are attending. Now, about the platform we'll be using today. You will have the opportunity to ask questions in the most of our sessions. So be sure to ask your most pressing questions in the Q&A box. We want to hear from you, right? So you'll also see that there is a community tab at the top of the event page. This section is designed for you to interact with the network of our guest speakers as well as our attendees, right? So you can send messages, exchange ideas, and really make the most of your time during the sessions. And as a thank you to all of you in attendance, we're giving you a $20 virtual gift card so you can grab a treat on us. So keep an eye out for that email from Thrive. With that, let's get the first speakers of the day. Awesome. So we're kicking off this session with longtime friend of Thrive, Barry Moltz. As a small business expert, Barry Moltz gets owners growing again by unlocking their long forgotten potential. With decades of entrepreneurial experience in his own business ventures, as well as consulting countless other entrepreneurs, Barry has discovered the formula to get stuck business owners unstuck and marching forward. Barry, take it away.
Kevin, it's great to be back with you and great to be back with Thrive. And I love when you said in this post-pandemic economy. I've been waiting 1.5 years, Kevin, for someone to say those words.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The show is yours, my friend.
Thank you so much. Let me share my screen here and tell you a little bit about myself. Let's first share the screen. Let's go to slide mode. So for those of you I hadn't had a chance to meet yet, I've had 3 businesses over the last 25 years. The first business went out of business. The second business, I was kicked out by my 2 partners about 2 weeks before my first son was born. I started my third business 2 weeks after my first son was born. And fortunately, in July of 1999, during the internet bubble, I was able to sell that business, pay back the bank the $1.3 million I owed them. And my wife tells me I got her back just about the same time. Now, I tell you that story because whatever you've been through, whatever you're going through, all the ups and downs as a small business owner, I have been there before. And what we're going to talk about today is another change that we're going to have to deal with as small business owners, because the world changed 1.5 years ago, and now it's going to change again. And we saw things over the last 1.5 years that we had never seen before. This is one of my favorite pictures I took at a local grocery store of someone wearing a shield and a mask. I just really like it. But we saw a lot of different things this last year. Who knew that the world needed a germ key because no one wanted to touch elevator buttons or handles on doors. So for $29.95, you could purchase a germ key that would do it for you. Hudson Brands, which runs a lot of the convenience stores in local airports, they started putting in PPE vending machines. And on the right-hand side, when I flew into Burbank Airport during the pandemic, you could actually rent an entire hotel in Las Vegas just for you and your family to avoid any cross-contamination. I saw a bunch of crazy signs during the pandemic. The one on the left is my favorite. It's from Marriott in Hollywood. It was in the elevator and said, please refrain from using your foot to push elevator buttons. And I love this one because the elevator buttons are way on high. And if you could actually do that with your foot, you were incredibly flexible. There was a sign at a local restaurant on the restroom that said party of one to keep social distancing. One person allowed in the restaurant one time. And of course, we all remember in March of 2020, the great run on toilet paper to create our own personal panic rooms. And of course, we all saw the end of the world. And what does the end of the world look like? It looks like when Amazon Prime can't deliver in 2 days. It was just crazy. For some small business owners, it really was almost an extinction event. If you ran a restaurant, a movie theater, any type of in-person activity was very difficult. But for other companies like home services, it actually was a good year because people were nesting and they were focusing on their home because they were spending so much time there, plus real estate values were going way up. And Americans were busy doing something last year. Americans completed approximately 500 million home services jobs. That's roughly 16 jobs per second. And 20% of those home service jobs were spent on maintenance and emergency repair. So in home services, we had a good year, but how do you build on that coming out of what Kevin said now is a post-pandemic economy? Well, let me tell you, here is the hard truth. People can get whatever you sell anywhere. You're not the only HVAC company in town. You're not the only plumbing company in town. What really matters now for consumers is the experience that they have with you, not only the type of service you provide, but before and after. Brand loyalty now is at an all-time low because of all the shifts that have been going on in the marketplace. In fact, for me, during the pandemic, I stopped traveling on American Airlines after 40 years because they weren't keeping the middle free open. And I felt much safer on Southwest, who was doing that. And so I tweeted Southwest on a flight and they were glad to have me. And of course, people are telling everything they know when they have an experience, a good and a bad experience with your company. The good news is that 25% of the people who have a good experience will tell others. The bad news is if they have a bad experience, 65% of those people unfortunately would rather tell other people when they have a bad experience rather than a good one. So how you talk to your customers each and every single time at each iteration really matters. It's not just good enough to perform an excellent service. You've got to perform excellent before, as you set them up for the service, and also afterwards. Great statistics here from AT&T. Customers buy more than your service. 86% of buyers say they're willing to pay more if someone gives them superior experience. That means you don't have to compete on low price. Competing on low price is a race to the bottom for small businesses. If you provide an excellent service, people will pay more. Also, 77% of consumers consider the customer experience just as important as the service you provide. And according to Salesforce, 76% of consumers view customer services as the true test of how much that company values that customer. So the way we communicate with customers in this coming year is critical. And we've communicated with people a bunch of different ways over the years. It started with in person, we wrote a letter, there are telegrams, and now, of course, we do a lot of video chats. What's evident, especially over the last year and a half, is no one really wants to talk to you on the phone anymore. They prefer electronic methods like email and text and video chats, and now chatbots. And in fact, you see in this diagram how video chat went way up during the pandemic. Zoom had about 5 million downloads in February, and then they had 27 million when the pandemic started in March. And in fact, customers prefer using electronic methods to communicate with you. And it's all part of that digital experience that customers really want. They want to be able to go online and be able to schedule the appointment and know when the tech is coming and be able to pay electronically is one of the most important things that there is. So communication with customers is critical, and you can make it better with technology. It's really going to help you seem like a big company. And in fact, by using higher technology communication like email and text and social media, customers like it better, and it's going to be a lot less expensive and have a wider reach. But you have to remember, if you're communicating with customers in many different ways, they expect different response times. So for example, if someone emails you, they expect a response in 24 hours versus they're texting you, they expect a response in 2 hours. Small businesses can provide this excellent business experience by using technology. And a couple of things that Thrive provides is a central hub for all your customer communications, because different customers will want to communicate with you in a variety of ways: email, SMS, online messaging, and you want that all in one place so you know how a single customer is communicating with you. Also, customers would much rather do online appointments rather than calling in or emailing, and Thrive allows you to do that. And almost as importantly, Thrive allows you to schedule your entire team so you know who's available when, and you can optimize their time. So let's use technology to improve our customer experience. Your customers are going to be really glad you did. I'm going to be talking more about this topic on how to provide an excellent customer experience in the breakout sessions. And I have a new book coming on how to make this change in the fall of this year. So let me see if I can go back. So if you would like some free chapters coming out in September, please email me at barry@barrymoltz.com/changemasters, and I'd be glad to get those out to you. So now let me unshare my screen. So now I'm very proud to bring on for our next segment, Gene Marks. He's a columnist, he's an author, he's a business owner. He writes every day on business, politics, and public policy for one of my favorite publications, The Washington Post, and weekly for Forbes Magazine, Inc., Entrepreneur, and The Huffington Post. He's written 5 books. You can see Gene all over town on Fox News, MSNBC, CNBC. Gene, it's great to have you back with you.
Barry, thanks for having me on. And sorry about earlier. I put my video on at the very beginning, and I was like, oh my God, Barry's got to speak. I don't want to get in his way. So sorry about that.
Listen, it's always good to see you. I can tell you that.
Waving and waving, and you're trying to get through your presentation. Sorry about that.
So we're over a year into COVID and the government shutdown, right? And different sectors have been affected differently. But as people now get vaccinated and the economy starts to rebound, are we going to see an uneven return of some of these sectors? Or do you think as the economy comes back, we're going to float all the way to where we were?
Well, I mean, ultimately, the economy itself is going to recover across the board, Barry. But yeah, I mean, we're going to see uneven returns. There's a few things that are going to be driving that. They're driving it right now. Most small businesses in this country are having a huge labor issue, finding people to do work for them. With all of the benefits that technology provides for us, we still need good people to do the work. And unfortunately, we're all struggling to find those good people. And a lot of businesses, both home services and also construction area as well, are having problems getting supply. There is still very much, a backlog, off the ports, West Coast, primarily. There's a lot of pressure on inflation as well. So these are some of the things that are impacting our businesses right now. Every one of my clients that I talk to, Barry, are they're complaining about these issues: finding labor, higher prices, can't get materials, and all of these things are going to slow down the recovery. But you know what, Barry? It's like the whole economy. You can't just shut down the world's biggest economy for like almost a year and then like flick a switch and expect everything to get back up and running again right away. It's just going to take time to work these things out.
Yeah, I know a lot of small business owners, their biggest issue is finding good people. And what do you think the reason why it's hard to find people? Is it the economic assistance that the federal government is giving through September? Is it that just people are reevaluating their lives? They're saying, I just don't want to do that anymore.
Right. There's a lot of factors. You know what I found, Barry, after living on this earth for 56 years, is that there's never ever like one answer to a question. It's always like no silver bullet. This labor supply shortage is because of a lot of different reasons. You mentioned one of them. True, unemployment benefits are continuing on in half the states of this country. About half the states are rejecting them. But there's benefits for some places, are keeping people at home rather than going to work. Schools have been sporadic in reopening. Now we know as the summer is coming on, they're going to remain closed. So, getting kids back so parents can get back to work has also been an issue. I don't know about what it's like for you in Chicago. In Philly, I almost like a quarter of the people I see walking around in the streets are still wearing masks. And there's lots of reasons for that, but I do think there's a tentativeness to getting back to work. Some people have concerns, health concerns, both customers and employees getting back to work. So those things are also playing into this. And then we've had such disruption in the labor market that a lot of people, like you alluded to, are sort of rethinking their jobs and their careers. And I've been reading studies, and you got to give with a grain of salt, but studies of anywhere from 30 to 50% of employees are considering new jobs or new careers because of the pandemic. So all of that is causing disruption. But I do have good news for all of you guys watching. It's going to work itself out. I mean, we're always going to have labor issues, and it's always going to be an issue finding good, skilled people. But as the schools reopen, as the unemployment benefits go out, as people still get more and more comfortable going out and getting back into society, a lot of workers are going to return to work. And if you're a good employer with good relationships with your employees, offering good, benefits and competitive, compensation, you'll be in the running to grab some good people.
So, Gene, over this past year and a half, some sectors did well, some sectors didn't. In your opinion, how did the home services sector do?
I agree 100% with what you said earlier. Home services and construction boomed. My clients in the home services area, and by the way, I'm going to include that with like people that install swimming pools. I mean, I'm sure you've seen that as well. I mean, there's people that are putting in outdoor decks and porches in their homes, as well as just fixing things up. The home services industry has been doing really, really well. The National Home Builders Association, Barry, they published their monthly, home building confidence index. It is at a historic high. I mean, they've been doing this index for 30 years now, and it's never been higher because home builders and then all the related people that provide services around the home have been extremely busy, and that's a good sign. Another thing that's also playing into that busyness is that, finding homes are hard. So, I know some people that would like to move or buy another home or whatever, and there's not that much inventory out there, so they're staying at home. And if they're staying at home, some people are getting some stuff done around the house to make that much better to live in. So if you're in the home services business, and again, I realize you can't generalize across the country because maybe you're in a pocket of the world that is not doing that good. But for the most part in the U.S., home services has been very strong this past year, and it's going to continue to be strong for at least the next 12 to 18 months.
Gene, you talk about swimming pools. So I committed to buying a swimming pool before the pandemic hit. And then when the pandemic hit, I said to the owner of the swimming pool company, I said, I want a discount because I'm the last pool you're ever going to build. He says, you got to be kidding me. I said, I'll bet you lunch. And guess what? I ended up taking him to lunch because I lost that bet. He was busier than ever.
Just to say, I wrote a piece about this for The Guardian about the home. That's because I brought up the pool industry because it's kind of fresh in my mind. In some parts of the country, I mean, they've got like a 12-month waiting list to get pools done, let alone services for the pools. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all.
So what lessons can we learn? And hopefully there's always lessons from this pandemic for small business owners.
Listen, they probably heard a lot of this before, but for the first time as a CPA, some of the stuff I've been telling my clients, Barry, I feel a little vindicated. You got to have cash availability. You have to have reserves. This pandemic was an extreme example of stuff that could happen. I mean, we had governments were shutting down, businesses. It wasn't even like it was caused by the economy. It was man-made. and for all good reasons. But really, my clients that had cash availability, the ones that had control of their cash flow, own property, own inventory, cut down on your overhead wherever you can. Try not to pay rent if you can avoid paying rent, and build up cash reserves. Just because you have a good year does not mean that next year is going to be a good year. For God's sake, save some of that money and put it away. If you're in the home services industry, you are so exposed to the fluctuations in the economy and just the world of construction in general. And any person who's been in the construction world for a decade or two will tell you things are never as good as they seem. Sometimes they're not as bad as they seem, but they fluctuate. So the big takeaway from the pandemic itself is make sure that you've got cash in the bank always, or cash availability. That's number one. Number two, and I've seen this again and again with my clients in the home services industry, is don't be afraid to do something that's out of your wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to try something that is not something that you've done before, or something you need to learn on the job. My clients that survived the pandemic and even prospered, they wound up doing other home services they don't normally do because they saw the need there. And they said, listen, if I don't do this work, somebody else is going to do it. And I got a family to feed and a mortgage to pay. So I'm going to figure it out and learn. I might not make as much money on this project, but at least I can step up my game and then learn so I can provide these services elsewhere. So have cash and cash availability and expand your reach. Try and be variable where you can provide other services in addition to what's called, go outside of your comfort zone. That's how you'll succeed. That was my biggest takeaways from COVID.
No, I think those are good points. One of the attendees, Kelly, wants to go back to a topic we were talking about. And no surprise, it's finding
these questions. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
It's finding people, right? She says that she can't find good quality employees for a cleaning business. What should I do? What ideas do you have for finding people when they're just not readily available?
So, Kelly, I'll tell you what you can do. Go shopping. And here's what I mean. I had one guy tell me this story last year, and it really resonated with me. He has a home services business. He likes to go around to retail stores in his area and look for good salespeople, because when he finds good workers in other stores, he likes to steal them. You can't teach hard work, and you can't teach competence and dedication. So there are people that are out there, people that are working in restaurants that you're going to, people that are in retail stores that you're at, people that are in gas stations or repair shops or pizza shops that you're visiting. Open your eyes and keep an eye out for people that are out there that you would say, like, wow, this person is really doing some job making pizza or waiting on my table. I can teach this person to provide the cleaning services that we provide, and hopefully you can pay that person a little bit more, which gets me to my next point. Kelly, we are in a demand and supply issue right now. There is a low supply of labor. Again, I think things will work themselves out by the end of the year, but there's always going to be that low supply of skilled workers. Bottom line is, Kelly, when there's low supply, prices go up, and you got to pay for what you want to get. So, although you have to look closely at your books, are your benefits as competitive as the next guy down the street? Are you offering good paid time off? Do you offer a lot of flexibility? Do you have a decent enough health plan for your employees? Do you offer maybe to help out with student loans, or even same-day pay, which is a very growing trend, such as you pay somebody 50% what they made that day with the other 50% at the end of their payroll period? If you can offer some innovative benefits like that, that could make the difference between finding that employee or losing them to somebody else. And I have one final thing, Barry. I hope I don't run out of time. But Kelly, look into something called the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. It was extended to 2025. You can get a credit, cash, from the government up to $9,600 for hiring somebody who's been out of work more than 6 months. Calculate what that credit will be, or get your accountant to help you, and then offer some of it as a hiring bonus to a prospective employee. I'm seeing a lot of clients do that, and they're able to grab people off the unemployment rolls to come back to work because they're able to offer that money, and the government will help you do that. So it's called the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. It's a very, very valuable thing. Talk to your accountant about that, or your payroll service.
Yeah, Gene, that's some great advice. One of the things I talk to a lot of small business owners about is that we only think of pipelines for, getting new customers. We also have to think of pipelines for getting new employees, right? We also have to have a bench so we know if this person leaves, who am I going to hire next? not just say, okay, that person left. Now it's going to take me a month or two to find somebody.
It's I tell you, Barry, like some of the clients I've worked with in the past, some people that are really, really smart about businesses, they are constantly on the hunt for talent. It never ends. And it's like I said earlier, they're out to eat at a restaurant, they're going to a retail store. There's a cousin of a current employee. And by the way, that's where the largest majority of new employees are found, is references from existing employees. They're constantly mining for talent. Even when they don't need talent, they're looking for talent, because if you find that really good person, you'll find some way to pay for that person, because you know you'll be able to profit from that person. So you always have to be looking for that talent that's out there, and it's all around you. Don't be afraid to go out to people that already have jobs, make them a better offer.
So, Gene, we talked a lot about the people shortages. What should I do if there are supply chain shortages that I can't get the parts in order for me to provide the service to the customer?
So, like everything, supply chain, issues that we're having right now, there's no silver bullet, Barry, right? I mean, you can't just wave a magic wand and create materials in your business. Number two, I just want to be sure to everybody, guys, the supply chain issues are tough right now, but they are going to resolve themselves, right? It used to take up to 20 days for ships off the West Coast to make it into the ports in Los Angeles. They was backed up forever. We're now down to about 3 or 4 days. So things are getting better and better, but it's going to take some time. So what do you do in the meantime? Let me just give you some advice. Number one, you can't know how much of a supply chain challenge you have until you know what your supply is. So count your inventory. I mean, really count your inventory. Full count of what you've got on hand, and then institute cycle counting every week at least of your most active inventory items. This is an accountant speaking now. My clients that know what they have know what they can order. And if they don't know what they have, they've already got a supply chain issue. So figure out what you have to start with. That's number one. Number two, use this opportunity to get rid of obsolete inventory and to invest in technologies. RFID tags, barcoding tags, autonomous vehicles for your if you have like an inventory to move stuff around, things that will increase productivity and decrease the amount of time that people are taking moving stuff around. And number three, talk to your customers. If you are having a hard time getting supplies, people know that. We all read the news. Communicate with them, tell them what's going on, update your lead times, have a system for getting emails out. Thrive is a great platform to have those interactions with your customers. Keep them up to date on what is going on. In the meantime, got to look for other sources of supply. Thomson is a great source to look for materials. And finally, there are sites out there, and I know we don't have time to name a few of them, but keep an eye on India as a source of foreign supply. If the types of supplies that you get for your customers, you're buying from different distributors. India is a very fast-growing source of supply that's competing against China. So all of those different things you need to be doing while you navigate your way through this supply chain issue, which again is going to be going away, but it's just going to take some time.
Gene, thanks again for all your suggestions. Kevin, let me throw it back over to you, because people that want to learn more, they can join Gene and myself in breakouts, and we'll be talking further about these topics.
Absolutely. I tell you what, it's awesome listening to these two guys go back and forth with the questions and answers. Barry and Gene, thank you for that insightful conversation. I know our attendees will be looking forward to connecting with you in our roundtable sessions later on today. So we look forward to seeing you. Up next, we have our Thrive session with our experts. Now, are you new to business software, right? You're not sure if you got it just quite yet, and you're a little nervous about it? Well, if so, join the apprentice session with Ryan Newman. If you're feeling a bit more confident, but want to take a deeper dive, you want to join the Christy Hathcock session in the Journeyman, right? Now, all of you out there that follows in figure that you're a pro out there, you want to join the Cole Justice Master session in learning something new. So with that being said, let's get those sessions started now. Hey, everyone, and welcome to our keynote session with Susan Frew. As the CEO of her company, Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, Air, Susan Frew and her husband, William, grew their business by 535% in just 1 year. 535% by creatively using 7 deceptively simple tools coupled with some good old-fashioned elbow grease. She has earned a solid reputation as the go-to business growth coach for the trades industry. Susan has coached over 150 trade businesses in 18 different trades back to profitability among tough times and markets and recessions. The reason so many business owners trust her advice? Well, as a fellow business owner, she's been there, done that, and got the t-shirt. Susan, welcome to Thrive Connect.
Thanks, Kevin, and thanks to the folks at Thrive for having me here today. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be able to share with you today my compete on awesome, not on price strategies that enabled us to grow our company 535% and go from $0 to $3 million in no minutes flat. We were able to crank our business to the next level using these principles that I will share with you today. First things first, though, I want to tell you how we got our start. I was working in the Caribbean with AT&T Wireless, and I know that sounds like a cushy job. It was pretty cool. But when I returned to my home in Breckenridge, Colorado, I decided to take a package or an exit and to purchase a business coaching franchise. I started out doing really, really well. It was so much fun. I was group coaching. I was one-on-one coaching. I was speaking. I was everywhere. Everywhere you would go, there I was. I was on the radio. I was on the news, in the newspaper. I was on TV. The business coach, Susan Frew. It was awesome. Well, during that time, the franchise asked me if I would meet with a gentleman who was interested in buying a franchise. Well, that's not unusual. That's what I had done when I was interested. So I sat down with the gentleman at my favorite restaurant for lunch. In he comes and he tells me how he is a systems guy. And that's why he wants to be a business coach. And he can't wait. He read all about our franchise and he is so excited. And I want to tell him all about my successes. The radio show, the column in the newspaper, you name it, man, I was just dominating the market in business coaching. It was amazing. So at the end of the lunch, I gave him a couple of books that had been written by the founder of our coaching company. He takes the books and I say, by the way, where are you thinking of opening your business coaching franchise? And he says, right here in Breckenridge. Man, I was so annoyed. I couldn't stand that guy from that minute on. And wouldn't you know it, everywhere I went for the next couple of years, there he was. He had decided not to buy the business coaching franchise and he started another business. And I would just see this guy everywhere. He even came to me and said, I want you to be my business coach. And I told him his company was way too small for me to work with him. And wouldn't you know it, 5 years later, he became my husband. And Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, Air was born. You see, the company that he started was called Sunshine Solar and Mechanical in Breckenridge, Colorado, and he focused on plumbing and on solar thermal installs. But right around that time, the recession was just starting to hit with a vengeance. And ski towns like Breckenridge were getting hard hit more than anyone. So when we decided to get married in 2012 and moved down to Denver, what we did was to start Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, Air, a company that was just service. Because to this day, there are still people who owe Sunshine Solar and Mechanical money from during the recession. We felt that being in service was a way for us to be recession-proof. And this past year or so really proved that to be true. So when we got down to Denver and we restarted our company, Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, Air, and you might ask, where did you get the name Sunshine from? Well, that is the nickname of my stepdaughter, Zenaida. Now, when I met her when she was 15 years old, I had a couple of other names for her, but she's Sunshine now that she has grown up and a beautiful woman, married, and off enjoying her own life. So we took Sunshine down to Denver, but we were up against 950 competitors. What? That's insane. But what we knew right from the very beginning was this. We needed to compete in a different way and not on price. Because with 950 competitors, many of them way larger than us and been in business much longer, we weren't going to win. We were going to tank our company and it was not going to be pretty. Now, remember that business coaching career, right? I've coached over 150 different companies and 19 different trades, all across the boards, from service to construction. I have been in all of them. And one of the things that I knew that in order for us to compete, we needed to find a niche that other people weren't serving, right? So we decided to stick with residential plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, but our target market was women. So what I did was I joined every women's group possible in the Denver metro area in Colorado. And there were a lot of them. We became known as the go-to plumbers and heating and air conditioning vendors for all the women in our community. Well, why did we choose that demographic and what made it different? Well, we are a woman-owned company. I own 51% of Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, Air. My husband owns 49%. So what made us special for the women? Well, women trusted me. They trusted me to do good background checks, to care about their safety and security, to hire great people that I wouldn't be sending someone with a dubious background into their homes. We also carried vacuums on our trucks and lots of drop cloths because I told my team, we treat people's homes just like if you were going to work at your grandma's house. We wanted it to be stellar. We wanted the experience with our plumbing, heating, and air conditioning technicians to be the best that they could possibly know. We also found out during that time, which we sort of knew, but baby boomer women have more disposable income than any other demographic in the United States. So why wouldn't we go towards that market? And it became a winner for us. In fact, Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, Air in its first few years won 53 awards, including the Inc. 5000 list for our fastest growth, best places to work by the Inc. magazine as well. So we created a great team and a winning strategy to dominate those 950 competitors in our market. Another thing that we did was we created a strategy with the end in mind. We knew that at the end of our lifespan of our business, not our lifespan, but the lifespan of our business, that we were probably going to sell. That Sunshine daughter that I told you about, she has no interest in running our company and she lives in another state. So at the end, when we're ready to retire, we will either sell our company to our employees, which would be a great thing for us. We would love that, or we will outright sell it. So what we did is to go through the process of getting an appraisal on our business. What we did is we found out that our business was worth X if we sold it right now. We also found out the why of if we waited and made some changes to our company in order to get the maximum value. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But first, I want to tell you some other things that we did to set ourselves apart from our competitors, making us winning with our women clients and our demographic and the entire community in which we served. One of the things that we did was we named our processes. Well, what do you mean, right? That sounds kind of silly. What we did is we took all of the steps from when a person booked an appointment until we served them at the end, and we numbered them. there came out to be 12, and we called it the 12 points of love. Starting with how we answered the phone, how can we make you smile today? Well, really, we said that because whenever someone calls a plumbing, heating, and air conditioning company, it's never on their best day. It's usually something is broken and they're going to have to spend money that they didn't plan on spending. So we were trying to find a way to diffuse the situation that may have already been escalated and get it out of the way. So we used that 12 points of love, and the media ate it up. In fact, if you Google 12 points of love, you are going to find Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, Air out there because it is everywhere. And it was a genius idea, and it was just something simple. So I encourage you, if you have a process or something that you're really proud of, just number it and name it. The 5 points of greatness, the 5 points of awesome, the 7 points of service, whatever it is that you have in your company, use it to your advantage in marketing, because I promise you it will help. Another thing we did right from the very beginning was to grow our list. Our email list, we started out as a paperless company, and we still are today. Very few people give us pushback on that, but that enabled us to collect email addresses right from the very beginning. Ma'am, in order for us to send you your estimate or your receipt or whatever, we need your email address. Simple as that. We still use it, and today. We were able to keep in contact with these customers over the course of the year. We have over 30,000. We still use it today. We call it going deep instead of going wide now. We have over 30,000 customers in our database now. We know that is going to be one of the key factors when we go to retire and sell our company. That's going to be something that's incredibly valuable to the next buyer of Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, Air. Something else that we did during that time was we would send gift baskets to people who would buy a furnace, an air conditioning, a tankless water heater, a boiler, something big. We would send a gift basket right away. Something that we did that really blew us away and blew away our customers, our gift basket company said, look, let's send the gift basket to their office instead of their home, because they're going to receive a beautiful gift basket to the front desk of their office building, and everyone that they work with is now going to know that their plumbing, heating, and air conditioning company sent them a huge basket to say thank you. And they were right. I will tell you, we received so many referrals from those gift baskets. And we also told folks if they posted a photo of it on social media, they would be eligible to get a coupon. So it enabled us to grow our demographic because of those gift baskets significantly. Another thing we did, if we made a mistake, we would own it. We would say we're sorry, and we would send flowers. And of course, they were sunflowers. Another big thing that we did during that time is we would put people in a hotel if we couldn't get their things fixed. We couldn't get an air conditioner going. We couldn't get a furnace installed quick enough. We couldn't get them having hot water, whatever it was. If we couldn't get it done and get them comfortable by the end of the day, we would offer to put them in a hotel. Now, this also saved us on manpower because, as we know, no service technician really loves to work nights and weekends. They don't love on-call work, even though it could be lucrative. Nobody likes being woken up in the middle of the night because there's no heat or hot water in one of their clients' homes. So we used our hotel strategy to be able to put people in hotels. And then on Monday, we would send a technician to their home. We have never in all of these years lost a client by doing that. In fact, it has got us written up in so many magazines and articles I can't even count. But that simple thing that costs $150 blew people's minds. So I encourage you to find something like that. We also sent thank you notes to every single customer every single time with a small coupon for next time. We created a referral program. Not that big of a deal, but we really hit it home. And we encouraged people to refer their friends and neighbors. Another thing that we did that set us apart was to have dog biscuits on our trucks. We know that people love their furry friends just like we do. We always have dogs at our office. We have dog biscuits on every truck, and we ask, can we give Fido a treat? We've never had anyone say no, and we've been written up on that point many, many times by our customers. They love it, and they'll always give us a positive review for that. Another strategy in the compete on awesome, not on price, was to love our team. We know that with 950 competitors out there, that there is significant competition for our workforce. We also know that there is a huge shortage. In 2017, I did a TED Talk about the workforce shortage. At that time, we were looking at 1 million worker shortage by 2021. And to this day, that number is there and it's climbing. Because for years, parents sent their kids to college and not to trade school. So we definitely have a shortage, and we know that we need to take really good care of the workers that we have and to create unique and different things for them in order to get them to stay with us. One of the things that we do as a team might sound really simple, but we go and serve at the food bank once a quarter. Our team loves it. We also try once a quarter to go out and do an outing. Let everybody get off work a few hours early and go and play golf or go to the bowling alley or go to race cars. Whatever it is that we can do, we try to do to keep our employees happy and engaged. One big thing that we do, which many people have said we're crazy for, is we have unlimited personal time off. Now, there's some parameters to that. It's not all paid, and you have to give us ample notice. But for example, one of our employees had a dream to go hunting with his son in Canada for a month. We allowed him the time off with ample notice, and we were able to facilitate his dream for him. Another thing that we do for our technicians, which they love, is to get rewarded for reviews. So the way it works is every review that you get points. You can then parlay those points into prizes. So anything from as small as a $25 gift card up to a vacation for 2 in Mexico. Well, you might wonder how I can afford that. Well, I save up points just like many of you on my American Express card, and I can use those points for airfare. I also own a timeshare. So I just trade my timeshare when somebody wants a trip and let them go wherever they want. We had one employee who chose to go to San Diego. He's now shooting for another San Diego trip. He had so much fun, and it was kids' first trip on an airplane, and Sunshine was responsible. Another thing that we continue to do is embrace technology. As I said earlier, from day one, we had a paperless system. But what we also did was to trademark and patent something called Video Plumber. And man, were we glad we did this past year. What Video Plumber enabled us to do is to be able to do video estimates. We knew that people got annoyed by sitting there waiting for their plumbing, heating, and air conditioning guy to show up for an estimate. And they weren't even sure they were going to do the work. So what we started doing was setting up this system where we would video chat into your home. You would show us the problem. We would give you a thumbnail estimate on what's going on. Now, of course, there were language in there. If when we get there and there's some additional things we couldn't see, the price may vary a little bit. But it enabled us to keep our trucks rolling to true jobs that we were going to be able to do the work and not get stuck in a traffic jam for half the day just to do an estimate. It also helped endear us to the real estate community, who a lot of times needs an estimate right now today. But I'll tell you, in this last year, that Video Plumber helped us more than anything else that we had in our arsenal of competing on awesome and not on price. You know what? It's really easy to get a trademark and a patent on something. Maybe it's words that you use. Maybe it's a logo. Maybe it's your tagline. But I'll tell you that little R with the circle around it really helps to get you noticed in a super crowded and competitive market. Another thing that we have continued to do over the years was look at our branding. This is the year, it is our 10th year in business going into, we will now be rebranding our company. Why are we doing this? Because I think our logo is looking a little old. I think our brand has been around for a while and we need to punch it up. Remember I said keeping that end in mind? My husband and I would like to retire in the next 5 years. And that means somehow liquidating and selling our company, either to our employees, to an investor, to someone else who wants to run our company. But we need to have certain things in place in order to get the money that we need to retire. Remember I told you we got that business evaluation? Well, what we found out is some things that you do in your business are worth more than others. For example, we sell maintenance plans, which you may do too. But what we found out is if you do monthly recurring plans, every single month people are paying you for their maintenance plans, that will be more valuable at the end to a new buyer than doing it the other way we were doing it. We didn't know that. We also started really looking at our profitability. We understand the formula of how your company is sold so that all the decisions that we make and all the processes and procedures that we put in place become even more important when you have that plan on the horizon. One of those things was cutting expenses as we grew. Initially, we just grew like wildfire. The wheels were coming off of the bus, because we new truck in another location and more of this and more of that and more of this. And we looked one day at the bottom line and it wasn't pretty. Now our focus is much more on the bottom line because we are building the value of our organization. So when it's time for us to sell, we have a paid for retirement. Something else we did to grow our revenue was to include buying other small companies under our umbrella. We bought a small HVAC company that did more commercial than residential. That was something that rounded out our HVAC team. Another thing we did was we bought a plumbing company. The owners were moving away. They had 8,000 customers in their database. They did not do HVAC. So we were able to take all of those 8,000 customers and offer every single one of them HVAC services. It was a very inexpensive marketing idea that turned into huge profits in this last year. So my encouragement to you is this. I know sometimes you feel a little outnumbered by your competition, especially if you're in a market like mine with 950 competitors out there. You need to find your awesome. You need to find what sets you apart and where you can have a niche. Everyone has one. It's just a matter of discovering yours and marketing it from the rooftops. Shameless self-promotion. Go out there and tell the world how awesome your company is and how great they will be served by you and your family of technicians and your team. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And thank you to the Thrive community for having me as your speaker today.
Now that was an awesome story. Susan, thank you so much for that inspiring talk. And thanks to you, our attendees, for joining us today. We hope the information we shared with you will play a part in making you smarter, more driven, and inspired to succeed in 2021. I want to remind all of you that you can join one of our 3 roundtable discussions we have on tap with Barry, Jean, and Susan. What better opportunity to leverage their time to answer some of your questions? And remember, just by attending the roundtables, you have a chance to win an iPad Pro. And we will be announcing the winner live during those sessions. For now, this is Kevin White. Thank you and make it a great day.